A lot of exciting tours have been announced recently, haven't they? Yep, a lot of great bands are coming around. The Resonance, Ministry, Karak Angren, Elevati, and the most recent announced tour, which is the one I'm most excited for, is Skinny Puppy. But it's a bittersweet tour, because this is supposedly their final tour ever. It has been rumored pre-pandemic that they were going to go on a final tour, but for obvious reasons that didn't happen in 2020. The good news is that they are coming to Charlotte. Yes, my home state. Now I know some people are disappointed that they're not making certain dates in certain cities, and it seems like what they're probably going to do is they're probably going to do this final tour in waves, kind of like Slayer did. So they're going to hit several cities now, and then they're going to come back later and get the rest of them. But the Charlotte date, yes! That means I don't have to fly somewhere to go see them. You know, it's not really surprising that Skinny Puppy's doing a final tour now, because the last album came out in 2013, and they've done a couple tours since then, but for the most part, as Skinny Puppy, they don't really do anything. They've probably toured more for their solo bands and with other projects than they do with Skinny Puppy, so yeah, this is the opportunity to go see them. If you haven't seen them, go see them. Move mountains. Because all those other bands that are going on tour this year, you can see most of them again at some point. But this one, you know, often I think when bands do final tours, I think it's a marketing gimmick. Motley Crue's final tour was a big marketing gimmick because now those assholes are back together. In this case, given the fact that Skinny Puppy doesn't really do much, believe it. As soon as this tour was announced, I just wanted to fucking scream off the top of a mountain. I've been wanting to see this band since I became a fan of theirs in late 2015. As a giant birthday present to myself that year, I decided to go on Discogs and buy most of their albums on vinyl. And for a few years, I had the Last Rites 2009 2LP on vinyl, which I spent a fucking fortune on. I don't have that record anymore. I actually got to meet Ogre a few years ago. Him and Lead into Gold were going on tour together, and they came to Carborough, North Carolina. A friend of mine got the VIP meet and greet package to meet Ogre, and so we were all going to the venue together. We went there early, so that way she could do the meet and greet package, and we all just kind of hung around, talked, did whatever. And let's see, the meet and greet happened at around 4 o'clock. The doors were supposed to open at 7. Around 6:30-ish, in the back of the venue, Ogre was still outside talking to people, and it was almost time to get in line so that we could get into the door. And as Ogre was still outside, and while he was still there, I wanted to grab a picture with him, as he is one of my musical heroes. He was happy to oblige, and I told him, I said, listen, thank you so much for taking this picture with me, because, you know, I've been a big fan for a long time, and I even spent like $350 on the Last Rites album. And as we were taking the picture, he said, yeah, didn't you do a big YouTube video on that? Ogre saw my video! Holy shit! He said this in front of my friends, and of course, we talked for a few minutes about the new vinyl reissues that were coming out around the time, and how he wasn't really happy with them because the label did them without the band's permission. But before he exited the conversation, he said, thank you for doing the video, because that shows me that we still have value as a band. He said this in front of my friends, and let's just say that I had a hard-on for about a week. No Viagra needed there. I could not believe that. I even got to meet Paul Barker that night, because he was selling his own merch. In that case, I made sure that I was the last in line, just so that way I wouldn't be a dick to the people behind me, and I could talk to him for as long as he'd be willing to talk to me. I got to meet 2 of my musical heroes on the same night. Booyah! If I live to be 100, I'll never forget it. But speaking of meeting, they're doing a VIP meet and greet package, which, thank you, Chris, for helping me out on that. I'll be doing that, which, I only did a VIP meet and greet package once. I did it for Lords of Acid back in 2017, and the reason I did it mainly was just to see what it would be like. But in this case, it's Puppy's final tour, and yeah, this band has already given me so much and they don't even realize it, so I'll be more than happy to support them in that factor. I'd already bought a ticket earlier in the day before they announced the VIP thing, so that ticket is going to go to a friend of mine. I'm not even going to sell it, I'm just going to give it to her because, you know, it's just that kind of event. You want everybody involved as much as possible. It's a celebration. Skinny Puppy really is one of the greatest bands of all time. You know, and any of their albums could be your favorite album. I mean, they're not for everybody, and they're not the easiest to listen to all the time, but you know, you've got the EBM and early synth poppy sounding stuff like Bites and Remission. You got, you know, landmark albums like Vivisect 6, Cleanseful, Manipulate. You got these awesome albums right here. And, you know, even the new stuff, you know, I've got my criticisms about the new albums. I really like Weapon. I really like Great or Wrong or the Right. Mythmaker is alright. Handover bores the shit out of me. I don't imagine they'll be playing anything from that album on this upcoming tour. And then, of course, there are the millions of side projects, you know, like Download and Ogre Solo Band and Bedside Toxicology right here with Martin Atkins. Really good stuff. And I guess it would be a good time to announce that sometime I'm going to be doing a video on the process, in the same vein that I've been doing the Ministry videos. You know, this album has so much backstory and so much tragedy, I think it would make a great video. And, well, I want to handle it with as much respect as possible. Because members left, members died, the band broke up, it would make a good video. But, yeah, meet and greet, that's gonna be pretty cool. You know, usually I don't think that they're worth the money, but in this case, you know, I'm gonna be getting some pretty cool merch, and you know, Skinny Puppy, they're one of those bands where it's like, you know, they've done so much for the genre and for so many people. It's like, you know what, fuck it, I'll bite. And if Paul's around, maybe I can get him to sign my copy of Filth Pig that I had Al sign in Chicago. I've been on a binge to listen to their music ever since this tour was announced. You know, I've been listening to the albums back to back to back, and you know, I realize that it's a different band now than it was in the 80s and the 90s, but, you know, that's to be expected. You know, you have different members, you've got different times, touring costs are different these days, and, well, let's just say that I'm fucking ready to see them. I've already got the ticket, and this is gonna be the one that I look forward to. Other than Clan of Zymox, which I'm seeing in Richmond next month, but hopefully you will all enjoy this tour as well. If you decide to go, do go, because, well, Skinny Puppy is Skinny Puppy. Not many bands do what they do. Grind on.